I love six-man football. If you couldn't tell, it's in my contract with Fox that whenever we have high school or six-man football highlights, I have to read them because I'm the one who really gets excited about six-man football. So it's a big weekend for the six-man community. They're all going to be out there at Abilene's Shotwell Stadium, and one of those guys is going to be the six-man guru himself, Granger Huntress, joining us on DCTF Live. Granger, what's going on, man?
Not much. I know you guys were talking about the whole six-man guru thing, but that was not me. Craig Way used to say that all the time on the radio and on TV, and so I just kind of ran with it as a running joke, and so I was like, all right.
That's fine. Listen, if you are given... Listen, if somebody were to give me a nickname, I mean... People have, but they're not very flattering.
Believe me, you got plenty of nicknames, buddy.
So, Granger, I imagine you are a guy who lives and breathes six-man football. Sixmanfootball.com, of course, has blown up. For you, this weekend, I imagine, is the culmination of what's been an already really fun six-man season.
Yeah, it is. To me, having done this for so long, and I've gone through different phases of my involvement with six-man football, but I think to me, my favorite part of the state championship game is all the people will see it, in Shotwell. We'll see all the coaches, we'll see all the other guys that cover the game. I get to see a lot of friends, because over the years, that's what it's meant to me. Is I've made so many friends running the website.
Absolutely. It's going to be back out there at Shotwell Stadium. And I know that last year, some of the six-man fans, and in the past few years, some of the six-man fans haven't liked the idea of playing at AT&T Stadium. From your perspective, are you happy that the six-man state title games are back in Abilene?
It's funny. I get a lot of people who complain that it's not at AT&T. You're not, the kids want an NFL experience, and then there's, oh, good, it's back at a place where, that really appreciates it. To me, I thought the AT&T was special. It was a neat thing for them. But, Abilene and Shotwell does a great job and has always over the years, whether it's been at, Shotwell, it's been at Wiley before. So, it's more on the heart of six-man territory.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It sure is. We're talking with Granger Huntress, the six-man guru here on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live. For those who, for example, I'm going to be out there in Abilene, and I'm bringing a buddy who has been bugging me for about a year to take him to a six-man game. And I said, well, why not take him to the biggest, the six-man party of the year? For folks who have never been to the six-man state championship games, especially out there in Abilene, what can they expect?
Yeah, and you referred to it earlier about the tailgating. A lot of these teams that have been there will get there early and tailgate. Teams do it at a variety of levels. But there'll be that. There'll be some deep, some good crowds. The games will be exciting. We've got Crowell, Richland Springs, Abbott, and Follett, and those are all teams that have been there and understand it. So, it'll be a lot of fun. I think you'll see. I think you'll be amazed at how fast the game is. I think that's what shocks people, and how hard hitting the game is. Those are the biggies. If you've never seen a six-man game, the hits are more open field, and so they can be pretty jarring.
We'll start with the early game, noon, the Division I state championship game between Crowell and Abbott. This Crowell team, I think that there was this notion, especially in six-man football, that when you lose a superstar transcendent athlete, like Crowell did when Mitchell Parsley graduated, that you take a big step back. But this year, it seems like Crowell, it's been steady as she goes. They've found other weapons to replace Mitchell Parsley. Yeah,
and I think that's why a lot of people were down on him, and obviously it took him some time to turn this, to get going. But Coach Hayes has done a wonderful job. Obviously, he's got two boys on the team who are tearing it up, and Daniel Clark's doing well running the ball. But I expect them to be big and fast. like they have the last couple of years.
It should be fun, and of course they're riding 2 consecutive state titles, looking for a third. On the other side is an Abbott squad, of course, coached by one of the luminaries of six-man football, Terry Crawford, and he's got another great bunch out there. Jacob Pavelka, it seems like, has had an outstanding year. For folks unfamiliar with Abbott, what should they expect from the Panthers?
Good blocking, well coached. They, like you said, Terry Crawford has been around for a while. Comes out of Plano. He went to high school in Plano. Great guy, and his teams are always so well disciplined and are going to execute you to death. So probably a little bit more running the ball. I'm not sure how they're going to match up against Crowell. I think they might be a little overmatched here, but strange things happen, especially if the weather gets crazy in Abilene, and we expect some wind. So who knows?
Should be fun. That's going down noon on Saturday out there at Abilene Shotwell Stadium. That's the Division I championship. Then the 3 p.m. game, the Division II state championship game. A very interesting clash here. Follett taking on Richland Springs. Folks who have even a passing understanding of six-man football remember Richland Springs from their just absolutely dominant run. They took a year off, but it seems like this Richland Springs team looks a lot like those teams we saw with Denham Reeves and company.
Yeah. This is, and I think Kyle Allen just transferred in last night. So, they should be fairly unbeatable. No, Richland Springs, Jerry Burkhart, just every time, people joke about kids transferring to Richland, but they do a heck of a job. This team's going to be fast. I think one of the funny things too is I'll be interested to see how many people that Crowell and Richland Springs suit up. It might shock a few people who come from 11 man that because they'll suit up every boy that goes to the high school. So it'll look like they have a massive team, but they'll play these guys. They're so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Follett, despite being a scrappy team who has some really good wins of late, this one might be over early.
The other one, they will face Follett, and you mentioned that they are a bit of an underdog in this one, but they've got their own weapons. Especially, you don't see a lot of 6'3" receivers out there for six-man football. We remember Richland Springs, of course, had one a couple of years ago. That was Danny Farquhar. I can't remember his first name, but but it seems like that's a huge advantage. And when they have a guy like Stetson Chadwick, I imagine the game plan is, well, let's just throw it up to the big man.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I was actually talking to someone today. That's going to be the one soft spot for Richland Springs. Is they have a propensity for giving up some points because they're scoring a lot of points. And can they defend the pass? Like I said, it's going to be hard with that if there really is an 18-mile-an-hour wind circling around Shotwell. So I think that. Richland will probably put a few guys back. I think they feel pretty confident they can stop the run.
It should be fun, and I'm trying to. It seems like you've got. We can tell who you think are going to win these games. Is it safe to say that you're picking Crowell in the Division I game and Richland Springs in the Division II game?
Yeah. Like you guys have been talking about. The show. Nothing's really an upset, but I do believe that these would be along those 3 that you talked about earlier in the show. Nobody's expecting them. These are all double favorites. A lot of people think that both games will be over by halftime. I'm not so sure because it's 14 to 18-year-old kids playing. Mm-hmm. And in the biggest game of their lives, so you never know what's going to happen. But I hope that they're more competitive than we think.
It is the biggest six-man football party of the year. The six-man Class 1A, I suppose, state championship games going down. at Shotwell Stadium in Abilene, and one of the guys who will be there is Granger Huntress. Follow him on Twitter at SixManGuru, and check out his fine work at sixmanfootball.com. Granger, thanks so much for hopping on with us, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, there
Bright
he goes.
and early.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes, it will. There he goes, Granger Huntress of sixmanfootball.com.